They whisper a pervasive lie, that your essence is tied to the constant chase, to endless outward connections, to being seen and desired. They subtly instill the belief that silence is a barren void, that abstinence signifies a profound lack, that choosing less inevitably renders you less. This insidious deception reverberates through our modern existence. But what if this narrative is a profound inversion of truth? What if that very stillness isn't an absence, but your soul's first whisper? A primal, profound sound that emerges only when you consciously or even unconsciously withdraw from the relentless games of desire and the stifling prisons of superficial affection. This is not a retreat into weakness. This is the sacred ground where your authentic power begins to stir, then truly unfurl. The conscious pause, a path to inner strength. We are conditioned to perceive abstinence through the lens of deprivation. It conjures images of harsh sacrifice, of something vital being withheld. Yet for countless souls who have traversed this very path, many of whom have shared their transformative odysseys, it reveals itself not as a desert but as a flourishing inner garden of cultivation. It signifies not a void, but a radical redirection of your entire being. Every ounce of vital energy, every nascent spark of desire, every breath of attention previously dissipated externally, is now meticulously reclaimed. It is channeled inward, forging an exquisite alchemy. In that fierce reorientation, the external cacophony quiets, the inner storm subsides, and your own authentic voice, long muffled, begins its resonant ascent. This is not a gesture of denial. This is an act of profound rediscovery. This is the conscious pause, a deliberate and potent act of self-mastery where you grant your physical being the stillness it craves, so your soul can finally articulate its deepest truths. At its core, this profound transformation is steeped in the timeless wisdom of Carl Jung. Jung's wisdom, confronting shadows, fueling the soul. Carl Jung, the audacious cartographer of the human psyche, unveiled a fundamental, often unsettling truth. All repressed energy finds a new way to manifest. This is the very engine of your profound metamorphosis. When your physical form ceases its relentless pursuit of immediate external pleasure, the ceaseless chase for connection, validation, or transient touch, that immense energy doesn't simply vanish into thin air. Instead, it powerfully flows inward, building an internal reservoir of vital force. Consider your scattered desires and restless energy as a torrential river, constantly overflowing its banks, chaotic and unproductive, its power squandered in aimless currents. But if you were to painstakingly carve a precise channel for that very river, it would then gain immense directed force, capable of generating power, sustaining life, even moving mountains. Your conscious pause acts as precisely this channel. It transmutes chaotic, dissipated energy into a laser-focused potency for profound inner growth. This redirection, once activated, can ignite a light that disturbs and often precipitates an unexpected spiritual awakening, a heightened sensitivity, more vivid dreams, sharper intuitions. These are not coincidences, but authentic signals that your soul is finally reclaiming its voice, free from external demands. In this powerful inward journey, a confrontation becomes inevitable. You will face what Jung termed the shadow. This is not an external malevolence, nor simply your dark side in isolation. The shadow is the composite of all the parts of yourself you've disowned, denied, or exiled into the unconscious because society or even you deemed them unacceptable, weak, or dangerous. It is the untamed fury you suppressed, the raw vulnerability you concealed, the authentic desires you never dared to acknowledge. This shadow, having long survived through adaptation and a relentless thirst for external validation, Now, in the profound silence of your conscious pause, refuses to maintain its pretense. When the outer clamor of distraction ceases, this shadow emerges not to punish, but to demand your full, unflinching acknowledgement and integration. It's a brutal, often uncomfortable confrontation. It can manifest as an invisible anguish that eats away from within, a deep internal turmoil, a resurgence of old fears, buried insecurities, and unhealed wounds. Many have voiced this raw experience, recounting how they once felt like they were watching myself live instead of actually living, like I was on the outside of my own experience, floating above my body, just going through the motions. This stark confrontation with your shadow can wound more deeply than any external abandonment, for it is a direct challenge to the very illusions of safety and self-worth you painstakingly constructed to navigate life. The unvarnished truth it exposes about your ingrained patterns, your self-betrayals, your unrecognized needs can be profoundly unsettling. Yet this challenging encounter is precisely where Jungian alchemy occurs. This encounter with the shadow is the crucible for your individuation process, Jung's radical, lifelong path towards psychological wholeness. Here, you courageously disengage from the projections you once cast onto others, blaming them for your own insecurities or seeking them to fulfill your unaddressed needs, in order to finally recognize and reclaim these exiled aspects within yourself. It's when you finally cease seeking to be chosen and fiercely begin to choose yourself. Not to engage in love for the sake of being loved, but to embrace yourself with such an intense and unconditional force that all superficiality, all pretense simply dissolves. This profound inner work transforms deep wounds into crystalline clarity, allowing memories to ache in a different way, not as open wounds, but as clues to a greater story, meticulously revealing how past pains were not random afflictions, but precise guideposts on your journey towards authentic power. This is the undeniable truth behind abstinence. It's a profound return to your authentic self, rendered possible only by courageously integrating what you once denied. The brain's reset, neuroscience of inner calm. This profound transformation isn't merely theoretical. It's meticulously validated by cutting-edge neuroscience. Your brain, with its astonishing neuroplasticity, its inherent capacity to literally rewire and reorganize its neural pathways, is in constant adaptation based on your lived habits. In our always-on world, your brain's intricate reward system often becomes ensnared in a state of dopamine overdrive. Every fleeting connection, every like, every intense experience acts as a rapid hit of pleasure, creating a compulsive chase and an insatiable need for more. This explains why stepping away from these habitual patterns can feel like an intense emotional adjustment, a raw withdrawal. Your nervous system is quite literally recalibrating away from its conditioned dependence on external stimuli. When you deliberately commit to the conscious pause, you interrupt this relentless feedback loop. You quiet the addiction, allowing the dopamine system to reset and astonishingly restore its natural sensitivity. What then unfolds is a profound neurological shift. Enhanced impulse control, remarkable mental clarity that effortlessly cuts through the densest mental fog, and an emotional resilience that feels like an impenetrable shield against life's demands. Many have testified to profound shifts in their daily experience, describing increased peace and a deeper connection to themselves through this neural recalibration, finding it remarkably easier to breathe before reacting. Furthermore, conscious stillness actively engages and strengthens your vagus nerve, the crucial communication highway between your brain and body. This profound activation shifts your entire nervous system from a chronic state of heightened alert, sympathetic dominance, our fight or flight mode, into a state of profound safety and social engagement, the ventral vagal state within polyvagal theory. When your nervous system achieves this deep regulation, your entire presence undergoes a remarkable transformation. You begin to radiate an unspoken signal of profound groundedness and calm. True intimacy then is revealed as something far beyond mere words or physical touch. It's about presence, the palpable, unspoken signal of safety and profound groundedness you transmit when your inner world is truly settled. This heightened interoceptive awareness, your exquisite ability to truly perceive subtle internal bodily sensations, like the rhythm of your breath or the beat of your heart, becomes a finely tuned instrument. This profound inner sensitivity allows you to observe emotions as symbolic mirrors of an unconscious that had always spoken to her but which the noise of desire had silenced, enabling you to regulate complex emotions before they overwhelm you, and fostering deeper, more authentic connections rooted in genuine security and mutual respect. Ancient wisdom, the temple within. Across millennia, ancient philosophies grasped this profound power. In Eastern traditions like Taoism and yoga, energy is not wasted, it is transformed. Your life force, your ki or prana, when not scattered through indulgence, consolidates within. This concentrated energy fundamentally strengthens your internal awareness, clarity, and vital essence. Consider the Taoist concept of Jing, your foundational life essence. It is the most primal, potent energy intrinsically linked to your willpower, boundless creativity, and longevity. This precious essence is significantly diminished by excess, particularly by ungrounded sexual activity. Through deliberate periods of conscious abstinence, Jing is replenished, strengthening your willpower, profoundly nurturing your inner stamina, and deepening your sacred connection to life itself. This reveals a profound, ancient understanding of energy management, far transcending mere rigid asceticism. Ancient Stoicism, too, offers a parallel and potent path to inner mastery. Philosophers like Seneca taught the profound art of mastering desires, not their outright eradication, but their wise, discerning control. They deeply believed that true freedom emanated from mastering your internal responses rather than being a passive slave to external impulses and fleeting pleasures. This aligns profoundly with Jung's emphasis on fiercely choosing oneself and cultivating self-love, rather than ceaselessly seeking external validation. It's about meticulously building an unshakable inner fortress of peace, rendering you resilient against the inevitable storms of the outer world. Imagine your vital energy as a powerful river. If it constantly floods its banks, it's chaotic, its immense potential tragically wasted. But with a meticulously crafted, precise channel, that same river gains immense directed force, capable of moving mountains or powering entire cities. Your conscious pause acts as precisely this channel. It masterfully transforms scattered desire into unshakable willpower and fleeting urges into profound presence. This is not a desolate desert of deprivation. It's a garden of cultivation. It is the exquisite art of letting the body grow profoundly quiet so the soul can finally speak its authentic truth. There is a kind of silence that is not emptiness. It is a temple. Your physical form ceases to be merely a vessel for fleeting external pleasure and is instead consecrated into an inner altar, a sacred space where your soul, at long last, finds the unshakable courage to articulate its deepest truths. Her body is not on pause. It is in ritual, a ritual the modern world has forgotten, but one her soul has always known how to walk. This reveals an ancient wisdom, long dormant, now gloriously reawakened within you, living an untouchable life, the practical application. So how do you actually do this? How do you embody this radical truth in a world that clamors incessantly for your constant engagement? This isn't about rigid punishing rules or self-inflicted hardship. It's about profound intentionality. Defining your pause beyond intimacy. While sexual celibacy is a profound path for many, with some finding years, even decades of deeply peaceful celibacy, where their soul speaks volumes and true joy emerges. The conscious pause extends far beyond that. It's about deliberately interrupting any compulsive outward flow that subtly drains your vital energy. This could involve a deliberate break from constant digital stimulation, stepping back from endlessly scrolling social media feeds or mindless entertainment. It might be an emotional pause, a conscious withdrawal from seeking external validation, from entanglement in toxic relationship patterns, or from the incessant need to express opinions. One person beautifully expressed how they stopped measuring my life against others, or bending under their opinions, not fitting in just for the sake of being with someone. The pause could even take the form of an information fast, consciously limiting the overwhelming influx of news, gossip, or irrelevant data. Or a halt in unnecessary consumption, pausing habitual spending or overeating. The core purpose isn't to punish, it's to create vast internal space for something far more authentic to be born within you. Embracing the uncomfortable truth, your inner withdrawal. This initial phase is often the crucible, the moment your ego, sensing a loss of control, begins to panic, even as your soul subtly yet firmly takes the lead. You will feel profoundly uncomfortable. An unease sets in, an invisible anguish that eats away from within. Old, deeply ingrained patterns, tempting desires, and the primal fear of not belonging will inevitably surge to the surface. Many have described this initial period as a brutal discomfort, feeling as if the world no longer recognizes her existence, or her absence from the game of desire has made her invisible. This is your shadow demanding its long overdue attention. Do not flee, do not numb. To navigate this intense internal landscape, learn to breathe into it. Employ deep, mindful breathing to anchor yourself in the present moment. This consciously activates the vagus nerve, calming your entire nervous system, thereby allowing you to gently regulate your internal state amidst the turmoil. Journal relentlessly. This is far more than just writing. It's a direct, unfiltered dialogue with your unconscious mind, a sacred excavation. Ask, what wound is this pain trying to show me? What deeply held fear am I truly afraid of losing? What belief about myself is no longer serving my highest good? One courageous soul shared how facing these questions made them realize they were never broken to begin with, but just tuned into something no one around me could see. This devoted journaling is the very process by which you confront and integrate your shadow, transforming pain once a wound becomes a scar of wisdom. This alchemical process enables memories to begin to ache in a different way, not as open wounds but as clues to a greater story, meticulously revealing hidden patterns and profound insights that were once obscured by the noise. Finally, connect with nature. The serene, quiet presence of the natural world profoundly mirrors the stillness you meticulously cultivate within, providing an inherently grounding and expansive space for profound self-reflection. Cultivating emotional strength. Respond, don't react. This phase of discomfort is not a punishment. It is your inner gym where you meticulously forge powerful emotional musculature. Every single time you consciously choose not to lash out, not to reflexively seek immediate comfort, not to spiral into old destructive narratives, you profoundly strengthen your emotional core. The tension she feels is not a sign of error but of transition. This is about building discernment over mere compulsion. You learn to respond from a place of deep wisdom, rather than merely reacting from old wounds. One individual powerfully asserted, "I am not against a relationship, but I haven't met a man who fits in and I don't settle for less. Therefore, my soul is too precious." This unwavering discipline empowers you to hold intense emotions without carelessly spilling them onto others, thereby rendering you profoundly dependable and truly trustworthy in love. Re-engaging with discernment, not desperation. After your transformative conscious pause, when you graciously re-enter the world, you do so as a profoundly transformed being. The transformation is complete when she realizes she no longer needs to be sought. She is the center, the fire, the revealing light. From this newly forged place of inner sovereignty, you experience love from overflow, not hunger. You are no longer seeking someone to complete you, for you are already whole. Instead, you seek someone to accompany you from a place of profound inner abundance. Love thus becomes a genuine offering, born from your inherent fullness, never from a place of need. You effortlessly exude magnetic presence. You radiate a profound sense of calm, a self-sourced energy that draws others in. Many have observed how a person in this state no longer needs applause or external validation, that her worth is not measured by how much others desire her body, but by how deeply she can hold the presence of her soul in silence. You naturally attract authentic connections because you are authentically whole. And you seek sacred partnership. You understand that true intimacy transcends mere physical proximity. It is about the honest, vulnerable meeting of souls. Your body, once perhaps seen merely as a source of external desire, is now revered as a sacred vessel, a temple for your awakened soul. This fundamental shift from being driven by need to consciously choosing, from compulsive reactions to profound discernment, is the true hallmark of liberation. The power of quiet. Why society fears your silence. Here's a provocative truth, one that resonates deeply within the collective unconscious. Society often fears the woman and man who withdraws. Why? Because you become inherently unpredictable, profoundly mysterious, and truly untouchable by its old rules. You simply cease playing the games of constant external validation. You begin to see beyond the games, beyond the exhausting emotional repetitions, and beyond the stifling masks of relationships that imprison far more than they liberate. When you stop begging for love, when you refuse to shrink your authentic self to fit into someone else's narrow idea of you, you become whole. And a whole person is inherently dangerous to everything that still lives in halves, to a world that thrives on dependency, on manufactured needs, and on keeping individuals fragmented. As many have eloquently described, your inherent worth now transcends external desires. You become rooted in the deep presence of your soul in silence. This isn't absence, it's an abundance of inner presence. This isn't loneliness, it's a deep sacred communion with something no fleeting passion could ever truly touch. This profound internal shift marks the awakening of the wild woman archetype and the integrated masculine principle for men, the inherent force that reconnects you with your ancestral wisdom, your pure, untamed instinct, the feminine that does not need an audience or external validation. This is where your vital energy, once dormant but merely withdrawn, enters a new state of consciousness where there is no longer a frenetic rush and absolutely no need to prove anything to anyone. This is Jung's concept of the manifestation of the self, the ultimate realization when the soul no longer seeks to be accepted by the world, but fiercely demands to be expressed from its own truth. Everything she lost along the way, the old loves, the fragile versions of herself, the relationships where she had to shrink to fit, no longer hurts the same. Now every loss sounds like liberation. Every absence feels like an answered prayer. Your journey to sovereignty. The soul speaks. So what does this all mean for you? The physical body falls silent, yes. But that's not a surrender to weakness, it's an intelligent strength retreating inward to coalesce into unshakable power. And when your soul begins to speak its truth, raw, clear, undeniable, there is no turning back. Because a woman or man who has truly heard their soul will never again settle for the low volume of an ordinary, uninspired love. You are not alone. You are awakening. Your journey isn't merely personal, it's profoundly symbolic. Your silenced body represents all those who were also taught to depend, to distract themselves, to give in to external demands. You are becoming a living testament that what once seemed like absence is, in fact, an overwhelming abundance of inner presence. What was once perceived as loneliness is, in truth, a profound communion with something sacred, something no fleeting passion could ever truly touch. This isn't about denying desire, it's about elevating it. Its desire meticulously refined, fully embodied, deeply sacred, and from that hallowed inner space, true connection, profound purpose, and authentic joy are born. This is the woman who has courageously crossed through her own inherent darkness and, in an act of ultimate empowerment, rescued herself, proving profoundly that what we deny submits us and what we integrate transforms us. This radical self-rescue fundamentally alters everything. Does this journey resonate with a forgotten, pulsing part of who you are? That nameless longing, the deep discomfort of no longer fitting where you once felt at home, the undeniable desire to retreat without fully knowing why? That's not fragility. That is your soul's first powerful whisper, insistently demanding to be heard. What profound insights has this illuminated for you? Have you courageously embarked on the conscious pause in your own life? Share your authentic insights and heartfelt questions in the comments below. Your story intrinsically empowers others. If this message deeply touched a forgotten part of your being, share it. Let it serve as a mirror for someone else who also feels her body has gone quiet but doesn't yet comprehend the profound reason why. For more deep dives into psychology, philosophy, and practical self-mastery, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Every single word here is a seed, every sacred silence, fertile soil, and every video a profound ritual. Because in the end, what truly remains is a being who has learned to hear what the soul whispers when the world is too loud. And that whisper resonating from your deepest core says, "You are whole, you are awakening."